And we're live with Astro Monday. We're going to be talking about what happened last week, why this weekend was so funky, and what's coming up this week. You guys, if you haven't prepared for what's coming up, you need to stop and listen. Put down in the comments, put down your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. Again, if we get time, we'll be pulling some people up today. And today we're going to be talking about specifically all of the different things that have gone on. This week was a change of perspective for people. It was like I didn't see that coming. And I can tell you I had my own version of that, which we're probably going to talk about here. But there are some things that happened this weekend where I noticed people having breakouts, having all kinds of lumps on their body, issues with health of all different ways, emotional, mental, and physical. It was pretty cool. Capricorn, 4 degrees ascending. Just waiting for my sunset, Sirius Joy, Christopher Witecki to join us. And again, put in your sun, your moon, and your rising so that everybody can check it out. Up there, can you put oh, there he is. Okay, got him. Hey, Chris.
Hey, buddy. How's it going, man?
Good,
Took,
man. How are
took me a
you?
minute to get connected there. Sorry, I don't know. Instagram's been wonky a lot, I tell you.
Oh, it just shut off on me earlier today.
Oh, did
Just
it?
like in the middle of the live, right in the middle of something I was saying. It was really super important. It's with an Aquarius, a 23-degree Aquarius on a 23-degree day. So
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Like I was real cloudy with a lot of things, and it's really starting to sharpen up now today. Like my some of my visions coming together. Like for our Austin event that we're going to be doing with you guys too.
yeah,
That's starting to come into clarity today, which is finally good.
yeah, yeah. I think we're same thing. It's like a lot of clarity. Like we had some negotiations that some of them went better than expected. Some of them turned, not in a bad way. Just turned. It's like okay, it's a different and later, and
Right.
that'll happen today.
That'll happen today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of yeah. Well, I'll talk about it off the air with you, but yeah, some interesting stuff. Not even planned, like just like God is moving us like around, but it's good. But anyways, yeah, 23 is a clarity day. It's a crisp day. It's a net 5 day, which is a Mercury rule day. So it's a day where I think we are getting clear on where we belong in the future. That's the energy of today, and that's in preparation to launch this.
So, so that that was interesting. The other thing that I noticed that coming up with a lot of people, because we get contacts. I have different groups that I monitor that I'm in. Lots of physical issues with people, like
Yep.
bumps showing up, rashes showing up,
Yep.
hips going out, diagnosis is coming up. All of that I noticed over the weekend.
Yes. Actually, we have like two people down sick in our group, so there's illness going around as well. And I'm hearing the same thing. Yeah,
So when do
people are
we
purging.
stop calling it an illness and we just say our body's detoxing from the increase?
We need one word to say that.
I do. It's detoxing. I don't because sickness is a condition that leads to death.
Oh, I'm with you.
And when my body's detoxing, which we call sick today, it's actually healing itself, which is the
Yeah.
opposite of that. So I no longer use the word sickness.
Yeah, I'm all on board. And what I was saying is like you might be able to coin something there, brother, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You might be able to coin something there that is synonymous with human garage forever.
Yeah, that's a good
That
that's a
that's
good point.
that
That's a good
says that. Like fascial maneuvers is brilliant. That's a brilliant coin that I think you guys have done that you come up with. Lifestyle artist is also brilliant. By the way, human garage people are coming all out of the woodwork at Sirius Joy. Like I have a like a private diamond club that I'm coaching people. Two of them
yeah,
are found me through you,
yeah.
and they are life artists, right? What do you call
And
it?
lifestyle artist, yeah.
Lifestyle artists, which I think is a brilliant term. Also, that's a brilliant term.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we need a term for actually healing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now you say that, that's a really good time clarity on that. I just made a decision that today actually that one of the things that we haven't done is if you're talking with somebody about astrology versus human design versus tropical versus vedic, It's like it's almost like you can't have a conversation unless they're conversant in the same thing.
That they subscribe
Because
to the same systems. Yeah. Yeah.
so our system of looking and analyzing and working the body is so different than every other system because
Yeah.
fundamentally, if you start off with the bones are structured, the brain runs the body, muscles are what makes things happen. After that, everything else is different. And the rest of the world believes that. So I have not yet put out our beliefs in different parts, little small snippets of it, but I've not codified or coined and put out the belief of how we see the body, the mastery of fascia, how it works, so that we can, because we've been going through years of detox, but I'm at the state where everybody else is detoxing now. It's the first time in my time where I'm the one not detoxing. I'm performing. Because the same
Hmm.
input astrologically, I have two ways to do. If I'm in a deficit, I'm going to detox until my body's up to par. But once my body's up to par, there's performance. And it's
Mm.
kind of like karma. Once you're done with karma of the past, all the negative stuff, then now you hit that boundary where we are right now. Now the karma is all leading us forward. Now we may have a memory of it hitting us in the past, but it's all moving us forward. So that's what this stage show. I'm putting on decided to do once a month, 12 months series and well, it's called Move Younger, and then Master Your Fashion, Master Your Life. So everything that I do and know about the human body in one thing, that's going to be the book. And we're going to put it
Mm.
out instead of a book. We're going to do it in real time. We're going to put it out in a class once a month, and we're going to subscribe to it. And we're going to use the funds because there'll be thousands and thousands and thousands of people subscribe. So we're going to use the funds as part of our, because we're going to be often building a new sanctuary retreat center, a place where we can put 80 to 100 people. So we're going to use the proceeds to do that.
I love it. That sounds like a great idea. And that's going to be in Mexico, that
Yeah,
center.
I mean, I'm open, but yeah, right now I think the most stable place to be for the next 5 years is going to be probably Mexico, not Canada, not United States. That's
Correct.
for sure.
Yeah. No, I really liked Mexico. When I went there, the vibe was
It
excellent.
feels it feels like America felt like in the 80s.
Yes, I agree. And they're a Virgo, Mexico. So
Oh,
that's a healing nation.
interesting.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
that's why they're organic and their food's still, that's why they have it. They're all about authenticity and, so
Huh.
yeah, it's a great place.
That-
Yeah. I'll look at your astrological lines through Mexico. And I need to get the
yeah,
human garage birth chart if you have one.
yeah. Actually, I'll give you the human garage birth chart. I think Jay has it. So, and then I'm really far away from all my lines. So it's like I kind of get the ability to
Be yourself.
be myself. Like I'm not being pulled by my ego or by my intuition. I get a good rounding here, and um, but what I did notice is things like this. Like this weekend was really
Hmm.
profound. Like you said last week, there's going to be something that's a game changer,
Yep.
something you didn't think of. And what's funny is all week and all weekend I'm thinking, okay, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? And I'm like, it's not showing up. It's not showing up. And I guess it's because I had thought about all of the things. It was more about when,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
because I like, for example, I was saying I've been going through this detox process, and I want my whole thing is to be completely authentic, and to be authentic, I didn't want to talk about performance while I wasn't yet while he wasn't yet
Right.
performing,
You
and
want to practice what you preach.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, now it's switched over there. So that was mine. It was about where I thought it was going to be a year from now, year and a half from now on, and then how I was going to do it. Because one of the things that we have is we see the body so differently than when I talk to every other system. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like I have to convert it, but usually it comes down to us. It doesn't matter what your disease is. You do these simple things, and people seem to get through it. Doesn't matter where they are, what the disease is.
Hmm. Universal. Universal cure, if you will.
So, so what was it about this weekend again that came up that was pushing everybody? And I felt it on Saturday and Sunday, and the realization came today.
It was the sun at 21 Gemini, I mean 21 Aquarius, and then Grandmaster 22 Aquarius. And the moon was still coming off of Aquarius and then going into Pisces. So for me, it was a game changer. Was I it was it was exciting the way it happened because I ended up seeing what I was doing in a different way. Like I've been trying to plan certain things. I won't get into details now, but I was looking at things a certain way, like the event and other things, and I realized, oh, what actually, I'll be honest with what it was. I realized that I was still trying to compete in their market, theirs.
I was going to say that to
I
you actually
realized
when we talk
that.
next.
And
Yeah.
I go, oh, wait a second. I'm not doing what my heart wants. I'm trying to win over existing power
Yeah.
structures. I'm doing it power for power's sake. Shit, I caught myself doing it power for power's sake. So if I'd known, I would have. So I'm a person. I just need to know. Sometimes I need to, but sometimes I have to go down the wrong road to know I'm going down the wrong
Yeah.
road. So for me, it was like, oh, fuck this. I'm going to do this just like it's my birthday party. Like it's going to be everything my heart wants.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Your
kind of thing.
format. A lot to do with your format. Your
Right.
format was old school. And I was going to have the conversation with you. Literally, I was going to have it this week. I was just going to suggest that your format was the old way of doing it, but it's not the way that people like to involve or learn today.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, okay, so we're on the same page. So that was the eye opener for me. Is like, oh wow, I can do it my way, which is just funny. I mean, that's typical. I mean, that's part of where we're at. So that was my mind blow.
You know, I felt the same thing because it came together in a couple different versions. Like number one is I wanted to I because our market is so big, I've been losing contact with the people. Like because as soon as I open up a channel for questions, I get 1,000 questions put on that channel. Then it become useless because I can't really help the ones I want to help. I can't identify. They just all come in. So I was like, well, who do I really want to help? Well, I want to help people that are committed to go forward into this journey, whether they're there or not yet. And how do I separate those people? Well, I wanted all of the, like, for example, everything that you ever need to learn about the body and heal yourself is free of charge in our program. So,
Right.
but what that doesn't allow, it doesn't allow for there to be a way to separate people. And
Mm.
so and to go forward, like we were looking at, okay, well, the place that we need, it's millions of dollars. And how much do we want to take from like hard donations for somebody, or do we want the community to support it through our efforts? And I really want the community to support it. Well, one of the ways I can do it is I can put together a program that talks about how I've gotten to where I am specifically and how I'm performing and moving forward and and charge for that a reasonable amount. But that is about performance, and that's where that's doesn't that allows me to maintain the integrity of the original mission, which is the one that I saw that I committed to, which was the world should know how this works and they should have the tools to figure it out. Now my version of it is, here's what I did. Jay did something slightly different, but mine has had the most impact physically on the body, I think, of anybody I know anywhere, even in our own network. And I want people to be able to do what I do. Because I mean, I was saying today, this is the first time in my life, Chris, I feel better in my physical body, my emotions, my thoughts than I have at any given point in my life. And I feel better and stronger, better in my body today than when I was like 16 or 18 or 20.
Wow. That says
Yeah.
something there. That's brilliant, especially for an aging population, right? Like the fact that you feel younger as you've gotten older is brilliant, and that speaks to, I think, your work and the maneuvers
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, that's
Well,
terrific.
and the other part too, this is where, but that's what everybody sees on the outside. But I listen to Sirius Joy every day. I learn astrology and learn how it affects me, so that when the moon's over or something's affecting my Chiron, I know it, so that so I don't go, my body doesn't go through all the
Yeah,
emotions of the fear and stuff like that. I'm observing. I that's a really important part.
yeah.
And if it wasn't for the astrology, I told you many times, especially in 2018 and 2019, if it wasn't for my talks with you, I would have gave up.
Mm.
because there was just so much stuff coming at me at the same time.
Yeah, you were
I'm like,
overwhelmed.
why am I going through this? Like, what is the reason? Couldn't see a reason.
Yeah, the purpose and the meaning behind all of the experience. It really helps you to understand that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
your astrology, your system, your way of breaking it down, not only told it to me because I can't go to you all the time, and even though I was talking to you all the time, it's the when I needed you is when I got a text message.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, because it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe all these things are happening to me right now. You know, FDA came in, banks shutting me down, all that stuff, and I'm like, and the text message is like, your things are breaking down, so that you're ready for the future. And I'm like, oh yeah, thank God. You know, and
Yeah, to be able to reframe it like that. Yeah, which I
yeah,
think is what most of, honestly, I think that's where most of the work is. In fact, that's a perfect subject for today because today's step 23. It's this really what we've been talking about this whole conversation. Once you reframe it, you now are on top of it. It's not on top of you. It's crazy. It just needs that reframing
yeah,
to look at it
which
to look at it from a different perspective.
which is interesting because the work that we do on fascia, which people interact with but don't really know why, it's all perception. Perception is the neocortex. It's the front part of the brain. It's the most advanced part of us, and we try
Mm,
to treat everything back here hormonally. But
okay.
but if I told you that your mother died and you believe me, your whole body goes into
Right.
shock. And so then I tell you 30 minutes later, your mother didn't die, your whole body starts to come out of shock. And the facts in this world didn't change, but your perception of them did, which had an impact, immediate impact on your health and your body, your wear and tear.
Yes. I saw you in a video talking about sharing stories about the ice the person who was locked in a ice truck, but the ice truck wasn't on or whatever, and he died because he was perception was he was dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that it's really amazing, and just shifting that perspective, how and I think you're smart to have this again, this perspective on not calling it illness, but calling it something trademarked.
Yeah. Something trademark. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think it could reinvent the entire movement in a way, if it's branded correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It does need a word. Thank you for saying that because that's actually jogging me into something right now because I do call it detoxing, but detoxing has this association with negative as well. And
Yes, if you invent a word, then you can own the conscious around it.
yeah,
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 that'd
absolutely.
be
That's
great.
fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It's funny because people the idea of fascial maneuvers because you can't take I could never trademark the word fascia maneuvers, but fascial ain't a word. I mean, it is
Ah,
now. I made it up,
right. Yeah, fascially. That's great.
and
And you're allowed to.
and that's our that I mean that's intellectual property. That's what you like you me Ridge
Yep, I've got a whole bunch of them. Yeah,
shift
that I
happens.
have. And shift happens. Yeah, these become t-shirts over time. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the collective consciousness, but I think it's a smart idea, and also it allows you to own your movement, and not. I think there's a legitimate concern that we don't get squatted on by corporations, or smothered out as we reveal the discovery for happy life, right?
I think we've I don't want to sound cocky. It's not the or overconfident, but with information that we are already in culture around the world. People are using our words and our language. With 20 million people doing this practice around the world, so we've hit that culture, that realm. So what we're doing is we're building the container to allow people that we work with never to get squashed because what happens is the things that even a year ago that they would take me down for on social media for saying, I mean, I'd say something in medicine would say it. Like I put out a post on women's health a year ago. I got lambasted 2 years ago. Lambasted. It's like all bullshit doctors, and then but you get the odd doctor, the odd nurse, or the odd like especially women's health, the odd ultrasound tech goes, no, what he's saying is true. I've been doing this all over. The other ones that weren't informed. Now this year, the same posts, literally word for word, same posts. Not only opposite, but people are going, yeah, that's right, high five, high five. So we can see that we're starting to shift the way that people feel about this message that we're doing. And our goal is to completely put an umbrella around, because the media is, and we're just getting started with media. Like we're going to 10x our media here in the next 3 months.
Brilliant. Yay. That's good. I would say, well, I would say focus your money after Jupiter goes into Gemini. So
Jupiter goes. Oh, you
Jupiter
mean,
in
yeah,
late
and
May.
May, yeah, late May.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
that's what we're
May
doing.
24th, maybe May
Well,
25th,
we're going to
somewhere
be
around
on.
there.
You're going to come with us. We're going to be on tour. We're just talking to our European people and realizing it's funny because everything is hard. I used to have to push through it, and they're like, "No, we got this. We got media set up. We got news. We got interviews, television stations." So, and I'm like, "Whoa, wait a second. You're alternate reality. Now I'm going to have
Wow.
to fight for
You're
all
on
that."
the new timeline, brother. You're on the new
Yeah.
timeline.
So it's going to be fun to tour with you.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So
I'm excited. I'm going to come along and play. And bring my
yeah.
laptop, of course. I'll have to do shows and stuff remotely, but that's fine.
Yeah, I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
Which part of what I want to talk to you about? I have an idea I want to pitch to you too. So,
Okay, awesome. I love that idea.
um,
Okay. I'm
so
excited.
this coming week here, we're on Monday. I'm in my head. I'm thinking. I'm getting clarity on all this. We're gonna go into receive. We're gonna get lots of information about what our thoughts are tomorrow. So, what does the rest of the week look like?
So I coined this week shooting for the stars, and when I say that, I mean you're shooting for where you are a star in your own life, where you become the star that you really are, that you've been actually dimming this whole time and not allowing to twinkle bright. So today's when you find clarity. Tomorrow is when you accept, like, yes, this resonates. So you kind of digest it. Then Wednesday you pray, and Mars conjoins Pluto on Wednesday. So that's Valentine's Day. We're expecting an ego death this week, a death of the ego, and
Wow.
some ego death to happen on Wednesday. And I've been calling it a Black Rose Wednesday for a long time, Black Rose Valentine's Day, because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be honest with themselves about no longer being attracted to their partner.
Yeah. That's a tough one because it's a feeling, and it's because they've been changing, and the reason why they got attracted to somebody was often based in those other parts of their astrology that's
Yep,
now all changed.
it's now all healed. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, it takes a while. Like you've mentioned this before, like you look in the mirror and you don't notice you change except once a month, like your biological RAM doesn't update. It's sort of the same thing, I think, with ego. I think we finally admit to ourselves, I'm not into that anymore. And I feel because of the South Node in Libra, a lot of it has to do with it'll because it's Valentine's Day and it's themed around Valentine's Day. I think relationships will be huge, but not just romantic relationships. Also, like I'm not chasing after. I think it's like I'm not going to chase after the world's attention anymore. I'm not going to chase after trying to get my mom to accept me. I'm not going to chase. You realize you've been chasing after things that you just don't belong chasing after anymore, and that's how I see what Mars kind of is, which is big. Because that frees you because you don't realize how tied down and committed you are to the chase, right?
Right.
And so once you're free from the chase, it's sort of like, well, now what do I do? And I think you end up committing. So on
What day?
Thursday,
Hold on. What day of the month? Are we're 12 right now? The 12th?
today we're on the
So
12th. Yeah, it's already 12 days into the.
13th. Oh, so it's literally on the 14th, and it's a Pisces day. Oh,
Yep, and it's a Pisces
that's why you're
day.
calling it, yeah, Black Valentine.
Yeah, because it's on Valentine's Day and Mars conjoins Pluto. And Mars conjoins Pluto at zero. See, Pluto at zero,
Oh,
I felt this last week. Mercury crossed Pluto at zero on Friday of last week. And that's part of, I think, what led to my epiphany on Sunday was because an old way of thinking about yourself died. So
yeah,
an old way of thinking. Now it'll be an old way of acting. And then Venus conjoins on Saturday, which will be an old way of creating or an old way of relating. So I think technically the ego fault realizes it's not sexually attracted. Venus then on the weekend realizes my heart's not there anymore. And that is the final snip. That is the vasectomy. There will be no more children from that point on.
he's like, oh, I felt that one.
Yeah. I've been good at picking out those words lately. My staff was like, "Will you quit? but you can find those loaded words that make people really squirm.
Bisectomy.
Yeah. Only the men. There's a whole bunch of women here. They're all like, "Bisectomy!" And the men are like, "Oh." um, but anyway, so we commit on Thursday. So you realize you're no longer, want to chase after a certain thing inside yourself. Thursday we commit at 26 degrees, so that's a net 8. And Mercury sextiles Chiron on the nodes. So the nodes are at 16 Aries right now, which means we are currently healing a jackass moment. So I call it a jackass moment. That's a moment where you were a jackass, most likely in this life, but probably you were a jackass in this life because you had been a jackass in a past life where it completely ruined you. But the point of the jackass moment is that we don't realize we often curb our behavior when we open up to because we're trying to avoid being that jackass again.
Right.
And so if you think about it and you still go, ooh, and you still have that sort of feeling, then you haven't healed from the jackass moment. If you're still feeling like a jackass when you think about it, you haven't healed from the jackass moment. It's still affecting what you will or won't do. And the North Node and Chiron completely conjoin on next Monday, the 19th. So when we get back together next week, we will be healed from the jackass moment. But I think what this is a liberating and freeing force because you realize, oh, I don't have to chase after this anymore. And I'm not going to be a jackass this time. And I'm really not into this. So I think it's just like clip, clip, clip. You're sort of freed to make new choices. And so Thursday you commit, Friday you act, step 27, put it into motion. Saturday you hold space with 28. Sunday's 29. And by the way, I need to confirm with you about the 29 meeting. I just realized.
Can we do that on Sunday? I'm open.
I can do it on Sunday. Yes.
Yeah, I'll put it out. I'll put it out. Let's do it because I really feel that.
I didn't respond to you. It came in at a weird moment, like I was on a meeting or something. I forgot to go back.
Yeah, because I feel that this month, that 29 is something magic is going to happen on Sunday.
Well, given what I just told you, now that you are free from things that you had allowed to tie you down, now 29, you can see new potential, new limits. I mean, 29 Aquarius is how high does this vibration go? This is Sunday, the 18th, by the way, we're talking about. People are asking. And then on Monday, just going to pitch here, we begin our 40 days of past life and karma at Sirius Joy.
Oh, right. That's right. So anybody who's on here that wants to do this is the best way to learn about your whole astrology and your life by doing this.
I'm more in love with this program than any program we've made. It's just making a whole bunch of sense. And I'll just tell you how the program is going to roll out. Like the first 10 days, you're just like, you're looking at, patterns in your life. So you're journaling like, oh, now write down the times that this happened. Now write the times this happened, around relationships, around boundaries, around emotions. So just all of the, what appeared to be, bad times or bad luck, but starting at those themes. Then the next week, we then look at your chart. So I have like 11 planets that I always go to for past lives. So then we look at those planets and we go, okay, how many of these fit into the things you just journaled? So it's like starting to put together like, oh, holy shit, I have this pattern, I have this thing in my planet. Then the third week, we start to go, okay, so what does this tell you about who you might have been in past lives? So we start to help you come up with, at least if you can't think of the actual person, you can't realize that you were Cleopatra or whatever, which is fine. You realize, you identify with Cleopatra, you identify with King Arthur, you identify with some of these stories, and you start to realize, this is an archetype I once lived in a past life. So you start to get the archetypes. And then the final week, we reposition the Migo, another one of my words. So the ego for your inside is called your Migo. We reposition the Migo to now skip past whatever you have, however you've altered your behavior because you were trying to avoid those things. So it's basically a complete karma reconstruction. It's sort of a karmic makeover, if you will. And while that whole is happening, we have Devin Dewar, who's going to teach you how to identify your angel and communicate with your angel. So she's going to focus specifically on everyone finding their key angel that helps them. And that's basically a psychic development program. Then we have Kristen Ryder, who's doing a dodecahedron activation. So this is using sacred geometry, and basically you do like these meditation sound baths focusing on these different angles of the geometry. And when you work the entire dodecahedron, you've incorporated all your past lives into a new what's the word she uses? Mutable solid. So that's a little, and then we have some lectures from Robbie Hunt, who's going to talk about like the metaphysics of past lives, reincarnation, how religions speak against it. So some intellectual lectures too about the ideas of reincarnation. So it's a full A to Z karmic makeover.
We get a lot of, speaking of that, we get a lot of people coming from religion, the conscripting back in the army places that follow our system and then start to have these transformative experiences. They gain a new perspective. And then it comes up is because there's a misinterpretation about astrology in the Bible.
Oh
And
yeah.
because at that time they all followed astrology. It was the main science. It was the way to understand where they were in the world. But there was the part of it which was the projecting and prophesizing, because that's where the danger is the prophecy. The prophecy can conscript somebody's point of view, so that's what they warned about. But it's interesting because with this past life stuff that you're doing on this one, it's like the 40 days of truth and purpose. So people can get this, just so you know, by going into the app. It's part of the app. It's part of the whole program.
Included.
And and you can still go back and do the 40 days of truth and purpose, which lets you understand day by day your astrology and who you are. Now with the past life stuff, this is what I have a piece, I'll share it with you, that I wrote because I was trying to explain how does a past life situation get into this life to affect me. Like I saw I saw a coffin at 5 years old and freaked out. And I didn't have
Mm.
TV, didn't have any books. So how did I know what the coffin was and why did I freak out? And if we both see a snake, but I don't have an aversion to it, if I've never seen it before, and you do, we're gonna have very different experiences in this life. And I wanted to, in my mind, explain, and this is part of what I'm gonna be explaining in my 12-month journey here with people of mastery, is is how a situation came from a past life, how it gets into this life. Like, what's the mechanics of it affecting my biology today? That's what I went
Hmm.
through. And what I like about what you're doing is by opening up and giving them a narrative,
Hmm.
they can use that narrative to observe it in their current biology so they don't have to respond so viciously to it.
Yes, brilliant. And we do a day where we look over accidents and injuries in the body on the 11th day, Chiron day. So, I mean, a couple of my injuries and accidents, or even infections and hospitalizations, are tied directly to a past life injury
And me.
wound. Yeah. You had the same thing? Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you opened up that Pandora's
Yeah,
box.
yeah.
You did. I had
And
it. I had
that's
that
part of
bitch
my past
sealed in
life helping
concrete.
you.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot of help, Gary. 14 days in the hospital. But no, the truth is I had that shit buried. And I personally believe that we deliberately, I feel like in heaven, before we incarnate, we actually choose a conglomerate of past lives and put them together, those memories. And then those conscious timelines are threaded together and fused together. And then I believe we incarnate with them in our subconscious,
Yeah, they
waiting
are.
for
But
us
what
in our
is our
sub.
subconscious? It's our fascia, it's our body, and we have a double helix, which is a strand twirls with
Yeah,
antennas in the top,
yeah,
and we have a field around us which holds that record,
yes,
Akashic records, and
yes.
it translates through our field. And then when our crystal is not working properly, when it's plugged up with heavy metals or contracted or dehydrated, it doesn't crystallize or bring the information through fast enough.
Yeah, I believe that is, and even more so, I think where you are on the Earth. So looking at astrocartography,
Yeah.
which is really fascinating. Your soul's really one with Mother Earth. So if you go to different places in Mother Earth, you'll actually access different parts of your own. I came up with a new word, by the way, thoughtware. So
That's
some
awesome.
of your thoughtware, you like that? So you'll access some of your thoughtware where you can tie into that Akashic record. So I believe the Akashic records are stored in places. So when you go back to Mexico, you don't have any Akashic stored there.
Yes, because the energy of the place radiates, our antenna picks it up. And then
Yes,
the information that it picks up is from our field. And and
yes.
and literally that's why like Cynthia is not a big fan of Cancun, by the way. because
Oh,
it's her
really?
Pluto line.
Oh, oh. Well, I'm living on my Pluto line now in Denver. Pluto at first is a diuretic.
Yes.
You will purge everything out of you, and it will not but once you're done, you're squeaky clean,
Yeah,
Cynthia.
and I think that's what she has to come back here for because the Pluto line was clearing her out last
Yeah,
year because we were here for almost a whole year on and off. And then but she's like the same thing you were acting when you were going to come back to the clinic after the first time you went in the hospital
S-
with necrotizing
scared.
fasciitis. You're like, well, I don't know if I should go.
Yeah. I get that. Well, and I'll tell you, she's probably watching, but like when I moved to Denver, I kept a house in LA and I went back. It was like getting in a hot tub. I had to do it for a little while and then go back to LA, and then I come back in the hot tub again of Denver and I go back to LA. I was resisting getting in that, or you could say a cold plunge is another way to look at it. It was like a cold plunge that you have to do. But once it comes up, you feel squeaky clean. So I've come back to Denver now having released everything because uh, Austin is my Chiron line. So I moved to my
Oh,
Chiron line, and my Chiron return had a complete Chiron breakdown for 9 months, as you
right.
well know. So completely got rid of all that shift. And then now that I'm back in Denver, I feel squeaky clean. I'm just like, you could eat off this table. It's super clean.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it's worth it.
yeah. You don't have to worry about the bones
Oh yeah, the bones. Why? Oh, because of the elevation.
eating off your table.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You got
I'll
the
be
upholstery.
careful.
You got the appropriate upholstery. You don't have to worry about the bones.
Yeah. You and your Canadian kooky. I love it.
So Annie M. Hubbard is 14-degree Pisces, the same as Cynthia, and she's on her moon line.
Oh, the moon line. So the moon line bring it brings up all of your emotions. Your emotional field is amplified.
Right.
So, basically
So
whatever
for
line it
14-degree
is,
Pisces, that's got to be like,
but you have to know that there are four places for any line. So there's actually four lines. You have four moon lines on the earth. You have a moon line to your ascendant, you have a moon line to your descendant, you have a moon line to your midheaven, you have a moon line to your IC. So those are the 4 points when they activate. So when a planet hits one of the four corners of your chart, that's when it activates on the earth. So be your emotions about family would be your IC, your emotions about career would be your midheaven, your emotions about your personality would be your ascendant, your emotions about relationships would be your descendant. So
oh, I'm glad
I
you
want to
said that because I see the lines go like that, but I didn't quite get
there's
that.
4 points, and you'll see under the line, you'll see AC, MC, IC. You'll see that it'll be like Moon IC or Moon MC or Moon AC. So yeah, I find out that way,
Hey,
and figure it out.
somebody said my Pluto and Mars lines are both where I am now. Really need a break after 20 years.
Ooh, that's actually Pluto Mars. Like so, Helena Woods, who was our guest on, she was saying, for instance, JFK's Pluto line was Dallas. He was murdered on his Pluto line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Truman's Mars Pluto line was Hiroshima. So Truman actually launched the bomb to his Mars Pluto line.
Whoa.
Isn't that interesting?
That that
Really
is
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. So Mars Pluto line, Helena says, don't ever travel to your Mars Pluto line because that's where you get mugged. That's where there be violence. You lose your traveler's checks back in the day, whatever.
So me, I would be like, okay, let's go
Bring
do it.
it. Yeah, that would be you. Now that I've told you, yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna go
going to
find
be
out where
there.
my Mars Pluto line is. See what happens.
Well, be careful, be cautious, be conscious, But again, a lot of times, if you're aware, there are no
Yeah.
surprises. If you're unaware, there are surprises, and so if you have Mars in the 12th house, which means your ego issues are repressed, stay the hell away from your Mars Pluto line. Like, take it very carefully, approach it very carefully because you have repressed violent issues or repressed anger issues, so it's going to bring that up to the surface.
Yeah, I don't know where I don't know my I don't know where mine would sit on my house. I can't remember it. But what's interesting is that as you're talking about this, I've been really thinking like this weekend coming up, or last weekend came up, the whole week, your words are in my head the whole week. Okay, like shift in narrative, shift in story. You didn't see this coming. And it was like I could witness the gradual changes in my thought that led all the way up to Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday. And when it came Monday this morning at the beach doing the maneuvers, I'm like, oh, it was like the final cherry. But I actually witnessed myself building to that thing, that change that I wouldn't have counted for. Normally, I think if it was a year or 2 years ago, I would have, oh, I'm here. What the hell? But I could feel myself. And that's what you're saying. If you're aware
Yeah.
and if you're functioning and flowing, then these are just confirmations to what you already feel or where you're going.
Yes. And that's actually what a good reading is. So if you have a really good reading from a psychic or a professional, you'll know already 98% of what they tell you. And like 2% will be probably, if you get like 3% new stuff, that's a great reading for me.
Right.
If there 3% of the reading is something I never heard of before, I'm walking away delighted. But that's someone who is aware watching it all the time. If you don't watch all the time, if you don't watch yourself and watch your patterns and you go to a reading, chances are you're like, that reading sucked. It was all bullshit. And it's like, you're that much in denial if it was a good reader, right? Like it was a good person.
Well, that's
And
why
so,
your service makes so much of a difference because
yep.
I can't observe my pattern if I'm not aware when it's happening.
Yes, precisely. That
And
is the magic
you
of
can
it.
have the best astrology course in the world. You can know your chart inside out. I get this all the time. The people read astrology. I have people on my team that read it like crazy, and they know inside out. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to apply it at the actual moment that you're spazzing out. And the only way to do that, for me, it's just so common to look at the messages throughout the day. They're part of my life, and
Yep.
they keep me focused so that when it comes, I'm ready to receive it.
Yeah, that is, and I did the same thing in a personal reading. So in a reading, if you get a reading with me, I look at where the planets are today, and that's where we start the reading because that's what you're going to notice. I focus on where the planets are today. I'm going to focus on those parts of your chart. That's what you're most aware of. That's what you're going to see right away.
Right.
And if I don't have time to get to something, it'll be something that's not being currently transited in their chart.
Makes sense.
So to take advantage of that moment. And a lot of times, it's funny because I've had when a reading changes, which is a double booking, something happens, scheduling error, and it gets moved. It's almost always I look back and I compare. Had I had the reading on the day it was scheduled versus the day it actually turned out, it turns out the day was the best day for the reading for whatever reason. They're ready to open to hear it, or they had to experience something on Sunday. Sunday was like a big day. A lot of times the client will be like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad the reading was today because I just found out my husband's leaving me 2 days ago," or something like. So there's usually an event happens. So there's a cosmic timing thing for sure.
Well, I had the time of my birth wrong, which put my trajectory of my career, like why I'm doing this, that was slightly off. And I found that out when you were on your vacation. And I found out that the time corrected my chart. But had I known that beforehand, I would have probably messed it up.
Right. I've had that too. I've had the same thing where a lot of times when people's birth time is wrong and they're like, "Oh my God, my birth time's wrong. I found out I was born this time." It's like you heard what you needed to hear for that stage. So when you analyze it, you realize the same thing. They had to believe that to get to where they believe next. And that's where, the process and the experience is more important than the outcome.
Yeah. And people are asking if you guys go to Sirius Joy, go to Human Garage, go to our products and our partners and sign up to Sirius Joy, and it's only $3.99
Hmm.
for the first month, and that's what I love about it. It's like it's hard to go a month and not go, holy crap, this changes my life. That's really
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
power of it.
And we learned that we used to be a week. We used to do the first week, and it wasn't enough time for people to see how accurate it was. And this program, 40 days, starts next Monday at 0 degrees Pisces.
And you
So
just have to be a member to get it.
yep, there's no extra fee. It's all included in the subscription. So, and it's time. The magic of these programs, which is brilliant, and I don't even give credit to myself. It came from somewhere else, but like we're doing the past life during the past life transit. Pisces is the subconscious past life consciousness of the year. So we're looking at our past life And we're looking at boundary issues on step 0. We're looking at unrequited love at step 1. So when the universe vibrates that, we go into the Akashic record for 40 straight days.
Pisces is here. It's also the feet. Now, I just, when you said it that way, it triggered me is that, so Pisces would be, in my mind, thinking about, would it technically be your fascia? Because that is your subconscious. Our fascia, what we call it, that is the horsepower. That's where all the information's held. This just displays it, runs a program.
That makes sense.
So, and that would make sense that you're here and it's both ends. Think about polarity electricity. It has to come here and go out there to the bottom too.
I personally believe that fascia comes in. I think Pisces is the crown. I personally believe Pisces is the crown chakra.
Okay, yeah, to the crown.
Comes into the crown.
Yeah.
This is Sagittarius Capricorn. So the information comes into the crown, and then the third eye projects that vision into a future.
Okay, first statement, yeah.
And that Sagittarius Capricorn. Sag is like, you could be this. Capricorn's like, I choose this. So I feel like that's what happens. But I think you're right. I feel you're right. Fascia would be ruled by Pisces. It makes a lot of sense.
Ruled by, No, I get what you're saying. I think they're both correct because the fascia holds the dominant water in the body. And within the fascia, there's actually the interstitium, which is the brain. And it's an actual component. It's an organ inside the fascia.
Yes. And Pisces is the 12th house, and Virgo is the body, which is the opposite of Pisces. Yeah. So it'd be from fascia to Virgo, from fascia to body, from fascia to the neural net.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Pisces is our psychic neural net, without a question.
Yeah.
And the reason why most of it is subconscious, that's the whole point of reality. The whole point of reality is in heaven, or whatever you want to call it, we're aware of all timelines all at once. They're all happening. We're aware of everything all at once. And the whole part about Earth is that you just focus on one piece of that and you forget all the rest of you. So you can really experience one piece of your soul. And so it stays subconscious because you want to be able to put it backstage and bring it back on stage at will to experience and focus on just this one place, this one moment.
Yeah.
So the point of reality, from my understanding, is to slowly enjoy something that would happen in a fraction of awareness in Aquarius, in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And also the whole concept that we've been going through and experiencing is multiple timelines jumping.
Yeah.
I can actually see it. Like I can actually see the timeline and see the change in the timeline and see a past or a future that no longer is applicable. And I can feel it first, and then I have an awareness and something brings it up in my consciousness.
Yes, the timeline. Yes. I'm seeing, I think I switched timelines this morning. I felt a real click all of a sudden, like right before this show, I was like, oh, the future is bright.
Yeah, I had the switch on the beach this morning, because we go out to do our resets on the beach every day.
Yes.
And today was a weird day. Like the winds were coming in crazy. The ocean was really active, like lots of waves, but it wasn't forceful. And it had blown up the sand on the beach to the point where there's like a shelf going down, like a drop going down in the sand. And I'd never seen it quite that way before. And this is all this morning, and I'm standing on the edge of it, and I'm doing my maneuvers, and I'm like, I got it. It's time to now tell people the truth about what I believe about the body, because I've been translating it for all these years. It's like kind of like I was saying earlier. You have the step system and you use tropical as a way to do it, but it's like talking to somebody in Vedic. It's like, or it just doesn't. It works, but it doesn't really. It's not the same conversation because your step system takes whatever yours is tropical and takes Vedic and puts a whole new life to it, which is the truth.
Yes. Vedic people argue, it's funny, Vedic people I have no beef with Vedic astrologers, but they hate us. They hate the tropicals. I don't know why they hate us. I think it's ancient. I actually think Vedic is progressed astrology. Yeah. And we're natal. So Vedic is all based, the earth is now tilted and so the constellations look different. That's called a progression. I can do a progress chart in tropical as well. So I think it's looking at the very tip of so tropical looks at the source of creation, and Vedic looks at the progress where it is now.
Uh,
That's pretty much the
well, my
difference.
progress chart, I'm Aquarius right now.
I am a 7-degree Cancer. What step number are you progressed?
I think I'm 25. Aquarius are 20. Is it 25 or 22? I can't remember exactly, but it's like high degree Aquarius,
That's a
which
big
makes
deal.
sense because I'm feeling it right now. This is the time you told me that everything was going to happen in my life, and sure enough, it is. I mean, years ago you told
That
me that.
Yeah. Well, and my so in human design, you have a creation date that's 88 days before you were
Yes.
born. So my creation date was this Saturday. It was my creation birthday. 21 Aquarius. And I felt it. I felt like my birthday on Saturday. I was paying attention.
Yeah.
Like and that birth is the soul's birth. So there's two births. The soul is birthed into reality, and then the body is birthed from the soul. So there's two birthdays really. Your soul birth date and your body birth date.
So when you're talking about a progression, and I'm paraphrasing from Jason because I let him figure it out and then tell me.
Yeah, he just like uploads the computer fast, like speaks fluent Sag
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, absolutely.
it's like a
And so
fiber optic
he was
drive.
saying that basically from when you're born, every year you move forward, and then that's how you measure your progression. So you can measure it by that. So if I'm
A day for a
55, you take
year.
55 days from my birthday.
Correct. So if you're yes, exactly. So when you're 1 years old, it's the day after your birth. So if you're born on April Fool's Day, at 1 year old your progression is April 2nd. At 2 year old your progression is April 3rd. So you just run the birth chart for if you were born a day for a year is the formula.
My sister who raised me, Leah, you read her chart for. She's born on April 1st.
Oh, right. Mercury retrogrades on April 1st this year, so it really will be a April Fool's Day. We will feel
Wow.
we'll feel like fools that day because Mercury's going to retrograde. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So yeah, I'm a 7 Cancer now. I'll be an 8
Right.
Cancer sometime this July. July. The progression happens a little bit later. It's interesting. Like I don't know why, but I don't become the next degree because it's degree in minutes. So it actually is a little bit after your birthday usually that your progress step number changes. Yeah.
So finishing up here, what should we be looking at this week? Like what are the things that we want to buckle down at? If we were to take a direction, because it's a lot of information for people. If they're not using your app, it's a lot to focus on. So what would be like the word for each day?
Um, so okay, the word for each day. First of all, there's a theme to the whole week, which is what is my heart's greatest dream? Which is what I literally lived this morning. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do what my heart wants. Like I literally lived my own astrology, which is always fascinating. Like, oh shit, I fell into my own teaching trap there. So it is now time to aim for the stars. It's time to aim for what your heart wants most, and not what your heart wants if you win the lottery or anything like that. Get money and that stuff out of the way. This is a rare opportunity where dreams will come true. Seriously, if you vibrate to that level. So this is about surrendering to your heart's greatest dreams. And what you're calculating this week is where you belong. So today is where I think I belong. Tomorrow's where I feel I belong. 24, feel belong. Where I feel belong. 25 is where I sense I belong. That's 7. Like so, my thoughts, my feelings, my intuition. Okay, and then 26 is your heart can open up and you go commit. Okay, I belong there. So you choose. So you're basically wishing upon a star and determining whether or not you belong on that
Right.
star, and then taking the first step on Friday. Take a step in that direction. Buy the plane ticket, get a book. You have to make a wave in reality to start that chain reaction,
Good.
and then
I'm
hoping for.
gonna that helps me a lot because I'm actually going to that whole mastery class I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a short version of that, like a warm up for it in March, and then April we're gonna start, and we're gonna go 12 months. They're off once a month, and it's like literally everything that I wish I could have known about my body, my life, from astrology through to fascia, to how I deal with relationships and all that, all in 12 months.
That's great. That's the base of your book, huh?
Yeah, the first part is, move younger. And the way you do that is master your fascia so you can master your life. But then once that starts happening, like right now, it's like, I don't care about the movement.
Mm.
Like now my body is at the best it's ever been. Even if it doesn't move that well today, it doesn't bother me. Where before I'm in my head about it.
Uh,
Now I'm starting to, and something did switch, and it switched this weekend
mm,
as well.
mm,
My ability to affect or work with people, I can measure my performance if I'm with you and I touch you. I can measure it if I'm sitting in a room with you. I can measure it over Instagram, but I can measure it now without any of those things. So it just seems like I keep ratcheting up the abilities to interact and work with people.
mm. Yeah, I've noticed so I'm noticing psychic stuff opening up,
Yeah.
like on a higher level, and the acceptance of psychic stuff, and it's just becoming normal. Someone wrote here, it's not past lives or lives, their lives happening concurrently.
Yeah.
I agree that all these timelines are, but I think we're now at the point where we can leave this timeline, that we can consciously observe ourselves changing timelines, that we can consciously observe these energy forms. So I'm actually starting to have just some superpowers starting to open
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and look at it, even says it biblically. It says at this time, the end of times, when we change,
Mm,
that's what the end of times are, it's the
yeah,
beginning of the next,
yeah.
that we get our superpowers. So, like, I put an order in for superpowers. I've got a checklist of ones that I want. Some of them I've been shown small examples of, and where it's like something happened, kind of like in a Marvel's comic. Spider-Man, he goes like that, and all of a sudden the web comes out. It's like, well, how did that happen? So, so I feel like I've had these experiences, especially over the last year, and I know you have too. And they're just opening up one piece at a time right now.
Yes. I was talking to a client over the weekend, and she was saying, I remember a life where I used to be able to make things, I can move things with my hand.
Yeah,
I could force it to move. And I said, I've had the same dreams where I could, like, bring the coffee cup, like, thank you,
yeah,
the force basically. And I truly believe that, I've seen, I don't know if you've seen those videos of
yeah,
psychokinesis
yeah.
where people
Psychokinesis.
people make things move, like little balls and things move. So these are the types of superpowers I think are available to us.
I
The
can push people
spirituals.
over without touching them.
Oh,
Yeah, but
interesting.
it hasn't been like with cups or anything like that. But if it's a person, I can definitely throw more.
You can put
I've done it
them in the hospital
accidentally. And I'm
too.
like, I'm walking through and I'm like this, and it's like, poof.
Mm, I believe that. That's interesting. Yeah. I was joking. You can put them in the hospital too without touching them. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, this is an exciting week, and so we launch this week. You launch your sort of blueprint of where you want to go, and then come Monday, it's you switch the spiritual timeline. So that 40 days from February 19th to 9 degrees Aries is the official timeline shift. And someone asked what a timeline is. A timeline is a stream of consciousness that has a beginning and has an end. So it's an energetic stream of consciousness, much like changing a channel between movies. Consciousness is actually built in channels, which we
Yeah,
call timelines. And apparently, according to Bashar, like we're constantly switching channels
yeah,
all day long.
yeah. I feel that. I feel it's
Little,
almost like we're within a range of them that we switch under comfortably, and then when we have these big cathartic ones, I go out of this band into a new one, and then I get a new range of them. That's what it feels like.
yes. And you can feel it. You can feel it. I've been in like meetings where you're like laughing and having a great time, and everyone's like, and like everyone switched timeline right there. Everyone was like, we were in this joyful, high energy
Yeah.
timeline, and then we went down to like a peaceful, reflective timeline, and the group will surf the timeline together. So it's exciting. We love you
Thank
too.
you
It's
so
fun.
much. So let's confirm a time for Sunday.
Okay.
I'll text with you. Just
Yep.
give
I'm
me a
looking
range of
for.
times that work for you, and I'll confirm it out and then put it in. And
Okay.
Looking forward to this week. I really am. And thank you for that. On Friday, I'm going to put the pieces together for that program. It's something that I've been avoiding, not really avoiding, just not doing for a long time. And it's time to do it.
That's the same with my book. I'm writing my book this year. I'm going to my Jupiter Mercury line to write my
Where's that?
book for 2 weeks. Naples, Florida. Never been. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just following the energy. I'll let you
Yeah,
know. I'll be live from
yeah,
Naples,
that's good. I might
Florida.
come visit you.
You're gonna see my brain get bigger there, like the ability to. But my thought was like, yeah, I talked to Helena Woods. I was like, where should I write my book? And she like whipped out the map, and she's like, Naples, Florida. I was like, you got it. We'll have information on the Austin event soon. I mean, you will too.
Yeah,
When is your announcement for that? We're close to
we're
it.
we're close to it too. We've been having some venue issues where we may even have to scale back the size.
Right.
Um, so we're close to it, and we've got that and California at the same thing happening at the same time. Venue issues in two different spots, same time, at the same stage. So it's like it feels like it's gonna come together this week. So I'll know next week.
I feel I well for us we've changed what we're aiming for with venues now again even upon talking to you. So I feel like the universe is pushing us into a different shape that as far as that we didn't expect to have happen. And I also feel
I
like
think
we're being
so. I think
yeah,
so.
I think we're also being brought to certain energies
Yeah.
too. What you and I do have a certain energy, and I don't know, like we'd had one hotel we're looking at or whatever. It's like we went there, the energy was icky. It was like pretty, but the energy was icky. So it's like you can't. So we might
Yeah.
be being guided to the right energy as well. But I'm looking forward
I
to teaming up with you.
I totally like we had a project that went another way starting today. And we, the best part is we put the energy into the idea, but we're not attached to it. So when the project
Right.
went the other way, we just said, okay, because that whatever that is that's not right for us. It was going to happen,
Right.
but it's not right there.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, and we're all okay with that. There's nobody around here that's fighting that wants to hit a date or has an expectation. We live like that now, so it's really really fun because it's like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to go over here now, so I can go over here.
Yeah, we're the same way. That's the cool thing about working for a metaphysical company is everyone in the company is just like, should we do this in quarter 2? Doesn't feel like it. All right, fuck it, we won't. They're like, where IBM's brains are blowing up, like, what do you mean you're canceling? Like, yeah, we just didn't feel like it was good. So just letting the psychic like rule the direction. But I have a feeling it's going to be, this is experiment. When you let your company run from that perspective, that spiritual, energetic, conscious perspective, let's see how far things go.
Chris, there's no way that we could be at millions of followers and 20 million people around the world if we were doing this in any kind of logic. And we did it. We did all of this initially up until this year, until last year with 4 people, and this last year was with 10. And then now we've got troves of people coming in and helping. But that's I say all the time, I'm not that good. We're not that good.
Right.
We're following a course of like you, following a course of action, doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, we're the same way. We're working with heaven. Our board of directors is in heaven. That's what we say.
Okay, but
So, all right, that's a perfect way to wrap up.
and
Till next week. We'll see you
let me know when
Sunday.
it works for you. Just text me and I'll arrange it. Okay?
Would you be able to do it later in the afternoon on Wednesday
Yeah,
instead of like
absolutely.
around our normal time?
Yeah.
Okay, I think if we could do that, then I got it. All right, awesome. Hi
Okay.
to everyone, all the HGs, Human Garage. We love you.
Take
Ciao.
care. Okay, if you haven't done it yet, go to our website, humangarage.net. Go to our products and partners and sign up for Sirius Joy, $3.99 for the first month. If you don't like it, you cancel anytime. Highly, 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 highly recommend it. Changed my life, and you've got your past life stuff coming up here on Monday starting. So go try it out. You'll be shocked. Like I said, I don't refer a lot of things out there, really. I only tell you about things that I use. This has changed my life over the course of the last 7 years. And as I was talking about earlier, I can't say enough about it because the human body, when we're surprised, we change our chemistry. When our chemistry changes, it changes the way the universe shows up for us. If I'm in stress, I get one result. If I'm cool, conscious, and clear, I get another result. And that's what the Sirius Joy platform has allowed me to do. It's allowed me to stay out of stress and observe situations that are sometimes look fatal, but I'm still here. So they weren't. Take care, everybody.